I know a lot of Chinese colleagues have brought Chinese cars and they all tell me not to. So probably not, to be honest. I mean, they are cheap.
Already ordered a L9, so I'm very happy with the Chinese car. I think it's very fun to drive. It's an electric car, but it has the option to use gas as well.
I have to say I like more European cars.
Welcome you to China.
All right, thank you. All right. So my name is Lawrence Hübschmann. I'm half German, half British, and I've been in China for about 10 years, although before Corona I was moving between Germany and China a lot.
Polly, I'm from Ukraine and now I'm in China, in Hangzhou.
How long have you been in China?
2 months.
2 months in China.
Yeah.
Hi there, yeah, so my name's Paris. I'm from the UK and this is my 4th year in China.
I'm Manuel Marciano. I've been like 3 or 4 months in China, and I'm from Argentina.
What do you think of made in China?
I think when you're buying stuff in China and made in China goods, the problem is it's all very low tier or really high tier. There's not a lot of middle ground. So you either can get very cheap stuff that breaks very quickly or super expensive stuff. So if you've got the money, you can get really good quality Chinese things, or you can get really cheap stuff. There's no mid tier, which makes it difficult to buy like clothes or electronics and stuff. It's either low tier or really high tier.
Nice.
So living here for 2 months,
Yeah.
what do you think of made in China goods?
If we consider like the goods clothes, they do really good now. The quality is good, but if I would go for like a brand clothes, I would go and buy real brand clothes and not fake Chinese ones. But if we consider like mass market clothes, they do really good. And about other stuff, I mean everything now is made in China, so it's good. I like it, and it's better to buy goods made in China than somewhere abroad.
Okay.
Actually pretty well. I use Chinese goods a lot. I don't like brand names so much, so I'm using a Chinese phone. I use Xiaomi a lot, and I don't understand why I have to pay an iPhone for a brand name but then have it made in China, and it's basically the same as a Xiaomi or Huawei. And I think they're pretty good, especially in the technology part. It's very far advanced. I think sometimes Germany is like a museum, and in China everything is modern and new.
Well, I mean, you can find several things. You can find good stuff, and also you can find really cheap and shitty stuff. I think in general it's good. Mostly they love useless things, you know, like toys and little stuff, plastic stuff. In a way, I think it's really contaminating how much they produce and the waste they have. That's the truth. But in another sense, well, that they are the worst producer, you know, man. Everything's made in China.
Asian experiences here. Will you buy made in China car?
I know a lot of Chinese colleagues have brought Chinese cars and they all tell me not to. So probably not, to be honest. I mean, they are cheap, a lot cheaper than you'd pay for a foreign brand, but I'd probably say no.
Okay.
Actually, I have a German car, of course, but I'm also driving a Li Xiang car, so I've got a Li 1, and I already ordered a L9, so I'm very happy with the Chinese car. I think it's very fun to drive. It's an electric car, but it has the option to use gas as well. And I've been with it to Inner Mongolia. I drove with it everywhere, and I pretty like it, especially in the interior design is good and the price is good, and it has a lot of German automotive suppliers inside that are doing spare parts. So I think a car like Li Xiang, they did well. They used to buy a lot of know-how from the suppliers instead of stealing it. So I think it's a very good car, and it's fun to, especially if you have kids and you have the big screen inside. It's much better than you expect.
You are coming from a country that is known for its automobile companies. If you compare the cars made in China and that of the ones from Germany. What are some of the differences from these cars?
I have to say, made in China is still not as made in Germany. I think a BMW car especially is a different life experience and driving experience. I think my BMW in China has a better motor capacity and its handling is much better. But I think the electrical car in China, especially Li Xiang, is very nice to drive. It feels like playing auto scooter or having a really nice car, and I think for that price you can't do anything wrong, and I just recommend to buy Li Xiang cars. Yay.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us.
All right.
Well, I've ride in several Chinese cars in Didi, so I have to say I like more European cars. Or well, I love Tesla, in fact. But yeah, sure. I mean, they are cheap, so probably I would. If I have the money to buy a better car, I would buy a better car.
Okay.